That
Good, how
is
are
an
you?
intimidating microphone.
Yeah, I mean, it's radio. I mean,
Oh,
quality
it's
sound.
radio? Okay, let me put my radio voice on.
So let's start. Jessica, Oscar, thank you very much for being with us today.
Well,
Thank you
thank
for
you so
having
much.
us.
My first question would be, did you feel some kind of I would say, amount of responsibility in order to, I mean, to address this historical piece of filmmaking? How did you feel when you were told you were doing this?
I felt an enormous amount of responsibility because I have worked with Lee Volman. She directed me in a movie. I've read all of her books. I read her daughter's book. I've watched all of her movies that she did, with Bergman, and I felt a huge responsibility. And then when I read Hagai's scripts, and I saw the clever thing he had done in terms of looking at gender roles. Bergman looked at gender roles in a relationship in the 1960s, and then what Hagai does for 2020s. I thought, okay, this is a super interesting way of adapting this, and it kind of, but the responsibility never goes away. You always feel scared.
Oscar,
No,
you didn't?
no.
Shut up. He literally carried the movie script with him. He had a book of it, and it was like always on him. And he was like, "Well, in the original, actually, Johann says this." And
Well, actually, in the original, if I'm
on
not
page
mistaken,
103 of the original.
but that's not because of responsibility. That's just because I thought it was better in the original. So it was just more about, for me, the responsibility is just like, it's got to be good. If we're going to do this thing, it better be good. I don't know Liv Ullmann. If I knew her, I'm sure I would feel that responsibility too. But for me, it's just like, it better be fucking good. That's it.
Yeah.
And you were talking about from.
Sorry,
Sorry, go ahead. I know you.
No, you were talking about the gender roles that are depicted in this particular version of the story. Was that the most interesting, reason to do the job? Because your character she shows some of the traditional ingredients, elements of a male, right? Of the male we've known through decades. Don't you think that?
Yeah, I think. But what's so incredible about her is she's so modern of the world today, right? Yeah. Especially in the United States. I mean, so many women in the United States are the breadwinners of their families, and but it's a complicated issue, and you see it in the very first episode when they're talking about it, because Mira, in some sense, wants to make sure she doesn't emasculate her husband by being so successful. So she tries to make herself smaller at home. She tries to make him feel like he's the king of the house. But in some, like, she's not really free to celebrate who she is because of that. And I really hope that when people see the series, it'll encourage women and men to celebrate their wives for the work that they do, whether or not they go to work or not. But just no one should have to feel like they have to make themselves smaller in their family.
Mm-hmm. You are premiering this TV series on HBO, and you know that we are in this ongoing debate between platforms and cinemas. They are struggling for their existence. And do you do love cinema, and you work for movies too? I mean, how do you put yourself in this complicated debate? I mean, how do you see the future of this business? I know you should be brief, but I mean, we have like 1 minute left.
Well, I think it'll be both, just like it's always been. I mean, I have a movie coming out. It's only being released in the theaters. Eventually, it'll go to streaming, but when it's being released, it's going to theaters. And we have this, which was always intended to go to HBO. So I think there's a way for work to live in both on both platforms. And how lucky are we to have so many options?
Oscar.
I think like the limited series in particular is the weirdest out of all of them, because I don't think people quite know what they are yet. I mean, even the one, I'm doing one now, and they're not quite a movie, they're not quite a TV show. There's a lot of room. The fact that our series, that Scenes from Marriage, is premiering at Venice in its entirety, like that's just an astounding idea. So I think that we are we're living in a challenging time for sure, but there's also a lot of excitement around possibility.
Okay, Oscar, Jessica, thank you so much, and I'll see you in Venice.